In the focus of the program within the process is detailed process of production from the idea to final result under the brand Made in Kazakhstan. The program shows us an amazing world of projects, technologies and industrial developments.
Today I have a deadline. I have to submit my article. Already tomorrow it will appear in the latest issue of the newspaper. Despite the fact that, for quite some time already, the internet has become the main source of information and has occupied the place under the sun of printed media, the habit of buying and reading newspapers still persists among many people. What's more, each person chooses their own favorite section where they can find out about news on politics, the economy, cultural events of the country and city. And some people just pick up a newspaper for the crossword and puzzle sections or the horoscope. Overall, everyone needs newspapers. But how are the newspapers produced? We found out all about the intricacies of this process and are ready to tell you all about it. Hello, you are watching The Process, a program in which we tell you in detail about how it works. Today, the lenses of our cameras are focused on the production process of newspapers. The job at a newspaper, especially if it comes out every day, is anything but calm. Journalists begin gathering news already on their way to work. Anything that happens on the street, a festival, or even heavy rain can become a news headline. Of course, part of the information comes from press releases or written communication. But additional information is always good. Once everyone is gathered, the briefing begins. Journalists share the news that they've gathered, and the editor chooses the most interesting ones and then gives out specific tasks. The countdown begins. By evening, the article has to be ready. However, the text of the article is not all. An interesting visual illustration is required in order to attract the attention of the readers. That is why every newspaper has its own photographer. This person goes everywhere with the journalists to the scene of a news event and takes photos. People have gotten used to the fact that the printed text is an example of a high proficiency in grammar. Of course, it may happen that during the editing process, some mistakes or typos may go unnoticed. That is why, after editing, all the articles are once again sent to be checked by the proofreader. The task of the proofreader is to carefully look over the article, correct mistakes and typos, and ensure the correct use of punctuation marks. Only after proofreading are the articles of the latest newspaper issue sent for page assembly. There, they are arranged in accordance with the template format of the newspaper. Nevertheless, despite the fact that overall the look and design of the newspaper does not change, every issue presents a new task for the department specialist. This person arranges the articles among the pages of the newspaper and chooses additional elements of design in order to make the standard template more interesting. Once this process is complete, the template layout of the newspaper is ready. At the end of the working day, when all the articles have been written and approved by the editor, the formatted issue of the newspaper is sent for printing. Thus, the city falls asleep and typography awakens. Pages with articles and commentary are printed first. And later, closer to midnight, when the section with the schedule of TV programs is ready, the second batch of printing begins. The formatted issue of the newspaper is delivered to the typography department on a pen drive, CD, or is sent electronically. First off, it is sent to the department where pre-press processes take place. Here, arrangement of the pages in the right order is done. Afterwards, with the use of machines that work based on CTP or computer-to-plate technology, the arranged pages are set onto template sheets with a photosensitive surface. This process is divided into two stages. First, the arranged pages are exposed on the template form, and then this photosensitive sheet is developed. After this, the pages of the new newspaper issue are displayed on the sheet. An eyelet puncher is used to make holes in the developed template sheet, which are necessary for its fixation on the printing machine. In the meantime, paper is being prepared in the printing department. There's always a reserve supply of paper for the future newspaper issues. In order to print 100,000 copies of one issue, no less than 5 rolls of paper are required. Paper used for printing newspapers is different from the paper used for books. It is lighter and thinner. As a rule, it is a product of secondary production, making it cost-efficient and environmentally friendly. This paper is not pre-cut. The whole paper roll is loaded into the printing machine. The template photo sheets with the images of the newspaper pages are set on the offset shafts of the printing machines. If the number of copies that need to be printed is higher than usual, then an additional template sheet may be required, as during the printing process, the image displayed on it wears out. That is why, in order to avoid defects, printing is paused in order to change the template sheet. For colored printing, only 4 colors are used in typography: blue, red, yellow, and black. Therefore, the colored pictures in the newspapers are composed of only 4 colors. Before printing, the tones of the colors have to be regulated and set. Only after this, the printing process begins. The image from the template sheet that is attached to the drum is first transferred to the rubber surface of the offset drum and then onto the paper. When a colored page is printed, it passes through 4 offset drums. Each one has a separate photo sheet set up with the parts of the image of a specific color. And only once the paper has gone through all the stations of the printing machine, the printed page is ready. During the printing process, a specialist periodically controls for quality. Aside from the correspondence of colors, the way the image is printed has to be checked. Sometimes, if the paper goes into the machine unevenly, once the newspaper is folded, the text may end up on the crease. And this is, of course, a defect. Printed pages are then moved to the department where they're cut and folded. For example, out of the large sheet of paper with the transferred image from the photo sheet template, 4 double-sided pages of the newspaper can be cut out. This whole process is automated, and the result is a ready folded newspaper with the cut pages. Also, in order to make packaging easier, a limiting device is set up where the newspaper pages exit the machine. It is programmed to separate a set amount of copies. That is why the machine operator gets ready stacks of paper and does not have to count them one by one. One issue can have tens of thousands of copies. Now these newspapers have to be delivered to the press kiosks. By morning, sellers will receive and be able to sell the freshly printed issues. Good morning. Kazakhstanskaya Pravda and Вечерка. Thank you. Here they are, the fresh newspapers in my hands. Just yesterday morning, all that's printed in here did not exist. And now I can open the newspaper and read all the news. My own commentary, of course. Imagine that before, in order to print a fresh edition of a newspaper, a matrix or a cardboard template of the future newspaper, as well as the articles, were sent by plane. And in case of non-flying weather, well, no news then. And now with just one click, the formatted issue is sent from the editorial to the typography department electronically. Of course, today newspapers can be read online, but I personally still like to flip through the paper pages. You are watching The Process, a program in which we tell you in detail about how it works, and thereby shift your perspective on the things that surround us daily. My name is Nazar Muhammadjan. Until next time.